If you've ever opened up a deck with a Khalifi dragon in it, then you know the absolute joy of doing so. Having this massive 12 power dragon with rocket wings and flaming armor in your deck is really cool, until you're sitting down in a real game and you find that he's actually super difficult to even get on the board in the first place. In KeyForge, really big creatures tend to have a couple drawbacks attached to them, and Khalifi Dragon is no exception, unable to even enter play until you have 7 or more Ember in your pool. Today, we'll be looking at a number of these really big creatures and trying to figure out just how good are they. An infamously bad example is Pitlord. You get 2 Ember when you play him, but then you're stuck calling House Dis as long as he's around. This rarely makes the 2 Ember worth it because it's so easy to get locked out of anything useful and lose the game. He really requires certain other cards to go along with him, such as an Unlocked Gateway or 3 Fates, to make him viable. 9 power and 2 bonus Ember just rarely cuts it with such a severe drawback. There's also Gromid, a 10 power creature from House Mars of all places, that has the huge drawback of not allowing you to play creatures. In a deck with a really low creature count, this probably wouldn't be a huge problem, but I'm still not sure that drawback is justifiable for the rather mediocre effect of, after an enemy creature's destroyed a fighting Gromid, your opponent loses 1 Ember. Another infamous one is Narp from Worlds Collide, along with his Mega version, which gives him 2 extra power. I've talked about Narp enough on my channel already. Alright, new deck, let's see what's in here. Yo, are you kidding me right now? Are you serious? 2 Narps? What is this? And a Mega Narp on top of that? Narp's Brew? Oh my gosh. But his drawback of not letting either of his neighbors reap is just so unnecessary. In fact, the evolution of huge Brobnar creatures has gone through quite an odd evolution over the years. In Call of the Archons, we had Troll, who even healed himself of 3 damage whenever he reaped. From there, he just got worse and worse, devolving first into Groggins, who could only attack flank creatures, then into Narp, who got an extra armor at the cost of hindering his neighbors. A vanilla 8 power creature on its own really isn't even all that good to begin with. It has a few fights in it, but not much else. Another way in which KeyForge tends to limit high power creatures is by making them deal less damage during fights than what their actual power is. Tentadlin only deals 2 damage, Pterodactyl deals 4 with 4 splash, Galeotops and Gargantodon only deal 4, and Gladiodontus deals 5, though he can technically do it twice. These creatures also tend to enter play stunned as well, like with Yixlix's Dominator, meaning you have to wait a few turns before you can actually use them. And honestly, I think those drawbacks are fine. Sure, once you get them unstunned and everything, they're nice for fighting, especially Gladiodontus, but I think what they tend to get used for more than anything else are as targets to capture Ember onto. You want to put captured Ember in hard to reach places, and creatures with tons of power are perfect for that, especially ones that don't have a particularly special effect other than their size, like Galeotops. Dark Tidings introduced Unignathus and its evil twin, both of whom's effect has something to do with fighting and the way it's limited. Fighting with them is certainly an option, but at a whopping 12 power, they're great for storing Ember on, captured or exalted. Another theme I've noticed among really big creatures is that they tend to hurt other friendly creatures in your battle line in one way or another. Take Brachiodetis for example. He has Deploy and reads, stun each of Brachiodetis' neighbors and move 1 Ember from each of them to the common supply. So you're removing some Ember from the game and playing a 9 power Saurian creature at the cost of stunning 2 of your creatures. Stunning isn't a huge punishment, but can still be a bit of a pain depending on where you deployed Brachiodetis. A couple more examples include Taniwa and Tweak Kraken. Taniwa destroys a friendly creature whenever you fight or reap with it, but is 8 power, 2 armor, and gains you an extra Ember for doing so. Tweak Kraken destroys himself if you don't exhaust 2 other friendly unfathomable creatures upon play. But once you do play it, you have a 12 power creature on your side of the board that can deal extra damage all over the place. Chuff Ape from Mars is similar to Taniwa, though is even bigger at 11 power and has a fight reap effect that operates based on destroying another friendly creature. A self-healing 11 power taunt creature is a force to be reckoned with for sure. There are a few more interesting examples of big creatures, one of them being Grimlocust Ducks. The 2 extra armor over Chuff Ape makes him the beefiest taunt creature in the game, and he's just that, vanilla taunt, but you exalt him twice upon play, making him something of a target. With the right cards, the double exalt isn't that huge of an issue, but I know that I myself have had second thoughts about playing him down. There's also the Chosen One, who's interesting because he has 9 power and no drawbacks. In fact, he even has an insane effect to go along with him. He can still reap, still fight and deal full 9 damage. He doesn't destroy or stun or exhaust any friendly creatures when he enters play, but instead enters play at full capacity with nothing but benefits. You can even ward him or throw upgrades on him to make him elusive or boost up his power. So I really don't understand how other creatures like Narp or Grommet or even Galeotops for that matter could even compare to the Chosen One. He honestly seems to be among the best of the big KeyForge creatures just in terms of having high power and a fantastic effect at no drawback. However, this leads into my next point, which is that there are a number of big creatures whose high power plays directly into their effect. That is, their high power is part of what makes their effect viable, almost being part of the effect. I think the Chosen One would be an example of this, because if he was only 3 or 4 power, his effect wouldn't be nearly as potent, and he could be taken out more easily via direct damage. Take General Sherman as another example. He's 10 power, deals no damage when fighting, but has a ridiculous explosive play effect. The 10 power plays into that effect by then making him really difficult to remove from an empty board. Or there's also Shadow Self, whose 9 power is part of what makes his effect so good, being able to take lots of redirected damage. Neither of these creatures deal any damage when they fight, clearly signaling that their high power is there to complement their effect, not to be used as board control. The last notable creatures are, of course, the 3 gigantic creatures of Mass Mutation. Ultra Gravitron has 10 power, Niflkong has 12, and Ducilis has 20, making him the highest power creature in the game to date. These guys all have insane, unprecedented effects, with no restrictions to their damage output, but their drawback is that you need to have both halves of them in hand in order to play them. You must play both cards out at the same time. Sometimes you may not get to play them until you've reached the bottom of your deck, and you were just unlucky with your draws, chaining yourself to hang on to one half until you reach the other. But if you can get a hold of both halves in a timely manner, their effect is almost always worth the wait. Khalifi Dragon may be tough to play, but when you finally do get to play him down, boy is it one satisfying moment. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about these massive creatures. Which of these creatures are your favorite or least favorite to play with? A couple I didn't mention are Novu Dynamo from Logos, Fifald from Untamed, Omnipus from Unfathomable, and Igon the Terrible from Brobnar. So if you guys have any insight into those, let me know. Also, I now store all my past live streams on the new Aembermedes Archives channel. So if you guys end up missing out on my live streams while they're happening, you can find and watch them on this channel. And lastly, at 500 subscribers, which I understand is still a good ways out, I will be uploading a KeyForge video the likes of which you've never seen, in collaboration with another KeyForge content creator. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to Aembermedes and hit the bell. Thank you all so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you all again in the next one. See you later.